The following unofficial rebroadcast of Twit Live is brought to you by Odd TV and Cashfly. Cashfly's global network delivers your content, ensuring your website, streaming media, and downloads exceed expectations at cashfly.com. What do we agree is the big story of the week? What's the big story in Brazil, Carlos? What are people talking about in Brazil?
Wait,
he's getting wired.
Lewis is
rebooting.
Jumping the gun, Leo.
The Kindle may be the...
Yeah, we maybe
the
start
Kindle.
with the Kindle.
Yeah.
And let me look at what our... we're going to try to do very little social media today.
Okay. So no Twitter.
No, well, if there's something big, but you know, we do so much social media.
Mostly that Apple's not going to buy them.
Yeah, well, we knew that.
Let's talk about the importance of the Atom processor. Because I think that's a game-changing device. I think
Intel
this is the future of mobile computing.
Carlos, you're still on the internal, so you couldn't find one?
Yes, yeah. I couldn't get it.
That's fine. You're fine. I can live with it. It's not the end of the world. God, have you ever heard the audio on Meet the Press? You know, it's. I do want to turn up some levels. So is Lewis giving up, or is he coming back?
Let's see what Lewis is doing.
Somebody took my memory card out. How dare they?
So Star Trek made 76.
Yeah, we should talk about Star Trek.
That
Yes.
I tell you, I don't go to a lot of movies.
Don't say it yet. Save it.
Yeah.
Will we have any spoilers in this? I think we will have some spoilers. So
It's been out for
we're
almost
do
a week.
Spoiler alert. Tell people.
Oh, wait, there's Lewis. Hey,
I don't have any power on my recorder.
Okay, so he quit, Skype rebooted, wants you to try again.
Good.
All right, calling now.
No answer.
No answer. Are you...
No
answer. Yeah. Oh, you're already connected? No.
I'll hang up.
Connecting. Oh, wait, let Leo call you.
Oh yeah, he has to let me call him.
Yeah. All right. Goddamn technology.
These are all atoms, by the way.
Are they? What? Where are the actual boxes? Because and that's the box. Yeah, the mini ITX.
They're all mini ITX.
I'm about to buy like 10 of them.
And we put Hogs in the Hog video cards in there, so that's why they're getting video back.
They do get pretty hot.
Well, we took the fans out. There's no fans, and we took the power supply out as well. So it's an external power supply. So, Lewis, I see ya. I see ya, but I see ya, but I doesn't hear ya. What is going on with Louie? 1, 2, 3, 4. You got the right one potted up. Huh. You know what? I'm going to hang up on you. Call Echo 123, the Skype lady. Let's figure it out. Maybe it's me. So you call. I'm going to hang up. You call Echo 123. I'll call Echo 123. We'll see if I'm screwed up or you screwed up. But I think that we used this yesterday, so I'm pretty sure it ain't me. But, you know, you always got to check. You always got to check. Say something to me, Skype lady. Maybe it is me.
Hello.
You know what? It might be me. Son of a bee cook. I guess it's me. Oh, God. Yeah, these machines are a little...
So what do you get 2 gigs of RAM?
Yeah, I think it's probably 2 gigs.
And just standard, you don't have SSD drives. There's no need. No need.
It seems like it's working. Huh. So that looks like that's working. Check. Maybe it's a board issue. Turn all the way up.
How does that just get up there?
Hello. Hello.
Everyone says the
Hello.
volume is down.
Who said? Oh yeah. Well, no, it's. Oh yeah, it is down. Why is it down? Hello. Why is it doing that? That's annoying. Yeah, it was down. Wonder if that's weird.
Hello, welcome to Skype call testing service.
It was me.
After the beep, please record a message. Afterwards, your message will be played back to you.
Why was the volume turned on? Though I thought we used this yesterday. That's so strange. Huh? That's really very strange. I really should have a checklist like a jet pilot every time I come in here.
Right, Jack.
I thought we used it.
That's just weird. Anyway, I'm sorry, Lewis. I made you go through all that. It was my fault. And now he's gone. He's mad at me. Sorry, Lewis. That was my fault. It was our volume down.
Okay, so how are we doing now?
Now you sound great, except that it's your. You're not going through the headset now. You're going through your laptop mic, I think.
I am.
Tap your headset mic. Let's hear. Let's hear. Yeah, it's your laptop.
So you should be able to toggle that.
I'll fix that.
Yeah.
You guys.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Lewis, we can
Sorry,
hear
I
you.
really apologize. We used this yesterday, and I just assumed that it was still working. My foolish mistake.
So does this sound better for you?
Much better. Thank you.
Okay.
Now you-
It wasn't me because I just did a call with Jason Goldberg of social media in Germany not more than 15 minutes ago.
Well, that's the last time I talked to you when we did our election night special.
Well, no, he's back. I didn't, pull a Rip Van Winkle and sleep the last several months.
Yeah, no, that's great. And how's he doing? How's social media doing?
He's doing well. Obviously they've been somewhat quiet since the Zing acquisition. I think you'll start to hear news from them coming up again. He's real bullish. Had a great 2008 going from zero to acquisition in basically 8 months.
Wow, good for him.
Now he's getting acclimated. He's taking 4 German lessons and is trying to
4? Oh, wow.
But he says 4 because he had to learn the language of Zing first.
Right. All right, let me just start the recording here. Want to welcome everybody to Twit. This is the recording of the video start, and then I'll start the audio show in a minute. But I just want to kind of explain what we're doing, which is a little bit out of the ordinary. It turns out that the Twits have an unusual reverence for Mother's Day, and I extended invitations to fully a dozen people to be on this show, and some I haven't heard from. Kevin Rose I still haven't heard from. Debbie Jones I haven't heard from. Will Harris I haven't heard from. But those I heard from are with their mommies. And I think that's a wonderful thing. But here's a bunch of guys who don't like their mothers.
No.
And we're also going to use Talk Shoe today up to our audience. So I'm calling this the volunteer twit. Let's start by saying hello to Alex Lindsay, who is always welcome on the show. Alex is one of the hosts of Mac Break Weekly, and he's, of course, the head of the Pixel Corps, and lives down the street, so we pretty much get him in here.
Yeah, I just wandered
He's a freebie.
Over. Yeah, exactly.
A freebie. Somebody else who just wandered in, Brian Daniel Eisenberg. He's at infinitelymeta.com. He was just in town from Seattle. You were visiting a lot of different things, yeah?
I've been, I started out at the Star Trek viewing that Arrington put on, and then met with Scoble, and then crashed TechCrunch headquarters, crashed FriendFeed headquarters, then had lunch with Lewis. Well, Lewis is the one that took me down to both TechCrunch and FriendFeed. And then, then it was at Scott Beal's event last night. So
Boy, you're doing the whole scene.
Very important, productive
I didn't realize
trip.
it was so happening. I don't even know that most of this stuff exists. Someone's left me off.
We live within inches of the San Francisco, epicenter of all things Web 2.0, and yet because we're about an hour north by car, we get this great kind of removal too, and I don't mind that so much.
I love it.
Yeah, you live in Seattle, so you're also in an epicenter.
Yeah.
But there is a little. You were saying it's a little more relaxed.
It's a little more relaxed, and it's not. The investment community, I think, is not quite as evolved as.
Well, that's why it's not relaxed. There's money, and there's everybody's hoping to make. Everybody's hoping to score. This is where people are. Gunning to make money.
Yeah.
Also here, Louis Gray. I don't know what Louis is doing here on Mother's Day. He's a proud papa, brand new papa.
And I was told the audio is coming into you guys, but not over the stream, so there might be some work to do there.
My mother's doing great. My wife is also taking a nap. One of the advantages is you try and sleep when the kids sleep, and that's how we got time for you guys.
I'm so glad you could be here. Lewis is a regular on FriendFeed as well, as at lewisgray.com, a great blog site. In fact, you've become kind of almost an instant FriendFeed and Twitter celebrity because of your great blog posts, and Twitter's been very, very good to you, hasn't it?
I appreciate that. It's an interesting thing. I'm one of the few people who was on FriendFeed well before Twitter. I was really kind of a laggard on Twitter because I didn't want to get into that. But I recognize that you kind of have to go where the people are. You can't be a holdout and say one way is the right way. I got onto FriendFeed very early on and saw the benefits that were there and continue to champion the service. I don't think it's a situation of either or. You really can do both in tandem, and they're a good complement.
Yeah, I would agree with you 100%. I mean, I think that FriendFeed gets a lot of its content, frankly, from Twitter. So FriendFeed, I don't know what FriendFeed without Twitter is.
And now FriendFeed is also a Twitter client. I mean,
yeah, that's how I use it now.
I don't post natively to Twitter anymore.
No, I post on
to
FriendFeed,
and then it gets blasted out to there and Facebook.
Well, I
try to reduce the echo.
I already broke the promise because I said we weren't going to do any social media today.
And we jumped right
and then we jumped right into it.
It's all Lewis's fault.
Let's introduce one more person. One of the things I try to do with This Week in Tech is get an international perspective. 30% of our audience is outside the U.S. U.S. Tech companies in particular, I think, while the companies themselves understand that it's an international business, the people in towns like San Francisco, I bet it's true in San Francisco and Seattle too, are very provincial. You know, it's San Francisco or nothing. But really, there's a vibrant, exciting internet community. And joining us right now from São Paulo, Brazil, we have a web designer who volunteered. This is the volunteer edition of Twit to be here. Carlos Gustavo Xavier. Am I saying that right, Carlos? Xavier. From the land of Kinshasa.
Land of Cachaça. Cachaça. Hello there.
Good to have you on, Carlos. You know, one of the things that Brazil has become very famous for is its embrace of open source software.
Yes, of course.
Well,
we have a thriving community here.
Why do you think that is? Is that economic?
Well, I believe it's got a little bit to do with economics. Of course, Brazil started as a third world country. We are now in the status of developing country, so we're off that. But like our government here, they use a lot of Linux for computer programs for the community. So I believe it's got a lot to do with economics. But people are also more open to new experiences. So I think it kind of fits.
Speaking of new experiences, this is going to be the first Twit that we've also opened up to the general Twit community. I said it was a volunteer edition. We're using TalkShoe today, and I think it's something we're going to probably keep doing. And so I'm going to open up real quickly. I'm going to unmute all of you in TalkShoe. We are in a room at TalkShoe.com. This is room 49966. That's the room we'll always be in. It's if you search for Twit on TalkShoe, you'll find us. And you can go in there, you can be in the room, and you can be on the show. But let me just open it up, unmute, and say hello to everybody who's listening on TalkShoe. Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Who's playing music? Hello, everybody. And somebody's at the piano. With whoever's on the piano, will you stop playing for a moment?
Hello, Billy Joel.
Hey, Billy Joel was here. Hello, everybody. Adam, where are you from?
Hello. I'm from Chicago, Illinois.
Charbax, where are you calling from? Denmark. Good to have you, Charbax. It's a little audio's not great, but we at least good to have you online. Chunky, where are you from?
I'm from Wales in the UK.
Element One, where are you calling from?
San Antonio, Texas. There's like 107 degrees heat index.
He's burning up in San Antonio. Jeff Carter, where are you from? From California. If somebody's got the audio piping back in, so if you could turn that off, I'd sure appreciate that. You're probably watching. Yeah. I'm going to have to mute it if you don't do it. There you go. Jonathan, where are you calling from?
From Carson City, Nevada.
Where?
Carson City.
Carson City, Nevada. All right. Judd Pratt, where are you calling from?
Los Angeles, California.
From L.A. Missing Intellect. I hope you're not completely missing. Where are you from?
It's an old video game reference. Anyway, I'm from Los Angeles, California as well.
I haven't heard that video game, Missing Intellect. It sounds like fun. New Media Designs, where are you calling from? PH Largo, where are you calling from?
Oh, it's Flargo, and I'm from Seattle, Washington.
Flargo, I'll say that right, Seattle. Bruce Turner, where are you from?
I'm in Melbourne, Florida, on the Space Coast, where the shuttle's going off tomorrow.
Oh, that's exciting. That's exciting. I hear they have 2 shuttles on the pad because they want to have a rescue shuttle ready, because this was the first shuttle flight where they couldn't shelter at the space station because they're in a different orbit this time.
That's right.
Very interesting. And to see 2 shuttles on the pad must be a sight.
One of the last few times.
Yeah, let's hope you don't see the second one launch.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you, Flargo. Bruce Turner, where are you from?
Yeah, that was me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sanka, where are you from? Star Trek dude, where are you from?
Ohio.
Ohio. No spoilers, okay? Tech Helper 1. Ryan, I know where you're from. Where are you calling from, Ryan?
Palm Springs.
Palm Springs, California. Rachel, where are you from? The one woman in this whole show with 800 guys. Where are you from, Rachel?
Western Wisconsin.
You're a very brave woman. Thank you for being here representing.
Yeah.
Did we lose Lewis?
All right, I'm going to put you on hold, all of you, so we don't have that massive sound. And I'll take you all one at a time in future. We'll go one at a time through you. So be ready. I would encourage you, if you can, to have it would be great to have headsets. Turn off any background audio. If you're listening on headsets, that'll be okay. And then we'll call on you, and you'll be able to come up. I'm going to get Lewis back. He dropped off. And we can start talking about the news of the day. And the big story, I think, is the Amazon announcing a new Kindle 1 month after announcing the old Kindle.
Yeah.
I'm a little pissed. Brian, are you pissed?
I don't own one, so I don't really
You
care.
don't, Lewis, can you remember? I can't remember. You're too young to remember anything, Lewis. But can you remember ever a tech company announcing a update to a product a month after announcing the first product?
Well, Apple tends to do some updates similar to that, where they updated the RAM on the iPhone, and
people were pissed. But remember, that was, first of all, that was a year later. Right. Second of all, Apple gave a $100 discount.
Yeah, a year is one thing.
This is 2 months later.
Right.
What's the deal?
They must have had some kind of flaw.
No, you can't complain too much. I mean, it's one of those things where the early adopters don't always get the best deal, but they did have it first. I'm not too concerned about it because I don't have a Kindle at all. I'm an Apple fanboy, so if they have the iPhone version of it, it's good enough for me.
Well, here's the theory, and it's going around. I don't know, Alex, you might want to comment on this because you're from Mac Break Weekly, that maybe this is a preemptive strike. I mean, one of the things that's kind of interesting is they have announced it, but it's not going to be out till the summer, whatever. That could be August 31st.
I do think there's some concern.
Are they worried about the iPhone or the tablet?
There's some concern that there is from a media perspective, there's going to be kind of a black hole in this sector as we reach early June.
Oh, so that's it.
No
coverage after this.
Yeah, because the problem is that if Apple releases a media pad, like if they actually do something in June, they announce that they probably won't ship it till the fall, but they'll announce. A lot of people believe we're going to see some kind of larger iPhone. You're not going to be able to get. Everyone's going to compare whatever that item is for the next 3 months. Anything that's related to the media pad, I think that's the challenge.
I think it's incumbent at this point on Amazon to do something. A little love for those of us who bought. I've bought 2 Kindle 2s because I got one for myself, and I got 2 days before the DX was announced for Mom for Mother's Day a Kindle 2.
Well, we knew that it was going to be released this week because you got the. It's the Leo
now
curse.
You do have 30 days to return it, so I could tell Mom, but I'm not going to tell Mom. Oh, return it. There's your Mother's Day gift. She's loving it. You'll get a bigger one sometime.
Well, the question is, I think there's a lot of people that don't necessarily want a bigger one.
It's not that much bigger, is it?
It's a lot bigger.
9.7 inches.
Well, how much bigger is that? It's like
No, I think it's like 4 inch. It's a 4-inch difference.
It's not that much
4
bigger.
inch on the diagonal.
It's not like you couldn't.
Here's the thing that I think is way more important than the size is the support for PDF. Because this is how the iPod, I believe, squeezed the record companies into Apple's hand, which is that Apple gave them a legal outlet, but they also created something that anybody could use for anything. And now the issue is, especially when you look at the textbook market, what you're looking at is a bunch of students, who are going to have some of whom have access to very high speed scanners, and what you're going to end up with, I think, is a pirating market for a lot of the textbooks if they don't react quickly. So what Amazon now has is it has that publishing industry between a rock and a hard place. Without doing anything overt, they're able to make it available. People can put up PDFs of anything,
right?
As well as
that's big.
Yeah, and so the thing.
Well, it's also the textbook community and the academic community. I was talking to Kiwi Nerd in our chat at irc.twit.tv, and she said a lot of the documents that we get are in PDF form. A lot of the scientific papers and stuff. Yep. This is definitely aimed at the academic market.
But if you're a publisher, you should be worried that
I would
be
worried as a publisher that my intellectual property is just going out.
DRMs are gone.
Well, I don't know if DRM is gone, but I think that the issue
how
is
if Amazon going to police it?
If they don't play with Amazon, if they don't produce something that is, if they don't aggressively move their textbooks to an electronic format, think about bringing the price down to something reasonable. If they don't play that game, I think the issue they end up with is a lot of students circumventing them.
It's the same thing that happened with the music industry and songs being distributed through peer-to-peer networks, whereas they finally figured out a model for iTunes and Amazon for distribution, and that's taking off. And I pay for music.
But they wouldn't have done it. They would not have done it if the piracy market wasn't so prevalent.
Right.
They would have never given.
And I think you're right. This could be a whole new wave of piracy.
When you have a closed system like the Kindle, you didn't need it didn't put a lot of pressure on publishers. And it isn't. It's not just the other thing to remember is it's just like movies. We saw the Wolverine come out. Just like movies, every single book is in PDF format. I mean, before it goes to the printer. So the thing, if you have a PDF available, the danger is that any of this stuff can slip out.
Right. And it's such a widely known format.
Carlos, you're kind of left out on this because there is no no Kindle for outside the U.S., right?
Yeah, there's no Kindle. I get some friends that actually have it. Of course, they brought it from abroad. They love it, but this PDF material is already out there. It's not like
it's probably on Pirate Bay, right?
Yeah, it's already out there. It's not big because it now supports PDF that all this new pirate wave is going to come. It's already here, right? So I don't see it as it doing more damage than we already have.
Well. Except that it's on the Kindle platform, which does damage just because if you like the Kindle platform.
I think just the netbook concept, touch computing. Like I can't mouse with my right hand because I've moused for 15 years, and I've destroyed my arm.
Right.
But I want to be able to touch, and it's the glass. It's the Corning patents that make the iPhone multi-touch possible.
Oh, that's interesting.
And there's
interesting.
And so Dow Corning.
So Amazon couldn't do a multi-touch.
Yeah, that's what I understand.
Oh, that's interesting.
So Apple has an exclusive agreement with Dow Corning for the glass that this thing is made out of, but Corning, I've been told, has come out with a new process for new glass that apparently makes this look like child's play.
Well, it's in Corning's interest to make sure that others can get it too, right? I mean,
netbooks and the Crunch Pad and the thing that Scoble was talking about the other day that he was some company in China having computing devices that are made out of glass. I want 4 walls. And I wanted them all glass.
Right.
And I want some sort of projection system that I can compute.
I don't think Amazon's going to bring you that. But however, the question is, does Apple have a built-in advantage because it has multi-touch, it has color, doesn't have the battery life?
So I think
that Amazon can't compete with. In other words, I would think Corning would get in bed with Amazon if Amazon asked them.
I mean, look at Amazon's growth.
We don't know what the deal though with Apple is. I mean, maybe they have
Amazon is so closed with divulging anything about what they do. Nobody.
Well, I think that also though I think that Amazon is really looking at selling those razors. They're not.
It's absolutely. But why do they charge $360 for the razor?
Well, because I think that a big chunk of what we pay there is for the connection.
They could take it out. They take 5% of each book. They could pay for it with the books. I think Amazon. Here's my thesis on all this. Amazon has never done a consumer electronics device. They haven't asked anybody. All you had to do is take a look at the Kindle One to realize they're not the kind of company that's asking anybody for input. That thing was a joke. And so they're just going along, they're bumbling along, and they're making mistake after mistake, complete newbie mistake. Mistake one, the stupid design on the Kindle one. They just made a mistake by releasing Kindle DX 2 months after Kindle 2. They seem to be missing the boat on the price. I think Amazon just has their head up their butt.
Now that said, they're seeing huge growth points in certain age markets.
We don't know. Here's the other thing. What we don't know is how many they've sold.
How many Kindles they've sold?
I mean, we know they've sold Kindles predominantly to people over 50, over 40, and that's because my mom loves it because it got the big font. But Amazon's not disclosing sales numbers; they're just saying we're selling out.
Right?
We don't know.
You mentioned earlier, you were talking about the price and saying that it was too expensive. It has actually gone up in price and not down with the
new
Kindle
one.
DX.
Yeah. It's $100 more.
You look at Apple, you say people are worried about what Apple's going to do. Is this a preemptive strike? This is a preemptive strike against a product that nobody knows actually exists. Yeah, we've all been watching Mac for a long time. They've been talking about a tablet for a decade.
Well, do you think Jeff might know something?
I think that everybody thinks they know something. My little sister, who works at Apple Store Retail, tries to give me tips on when the MacBooks come out. But if you take a look at Apple, when they first came out with the iPod, I thought it was undervalued in terms of, it just didn't have a big enough hard disk. 5 gigs wasn't enough for me. And it was too expensive. iPhone, people said it was too expensive. And what did they do? They went out and just beat the industry into a pulp. So Amazon can look at them and say, this is not too expensive. Maybe they can show it as a premium product in a type of marketplace that doesn't have a lot of competition right now. They're not forced to bring the price down because they don't have a lot of competition in this space for what they do. I think we're not even talking about the Sony's version, right? The Sony e-reader. No one's talking about that at all.
No, in fact, I own both Sony e-readers, Lewis, and I'm a Kindle fan. I abandoned it for the Kindle, and that's for one reason only: the wireless.
Right.
That's the killer.
That's big.
That's the killer app on this.
Are you buying RSS feeds on that Kindle?
No. You mean blogs and that kind of thing? No. Yeah. I don't understand what that's all about. I do get Salon, so I guess in a way that's I could read that on the web. I also get the New Yorker, which is huge. But I don't find it a very good device, frankly, for scanning these things. I wonder if the DX with a bigger form factor will be bigger. The Times supposedly is going to do a deal that'll give you the Kindle DX if you can't get delivery. Now, talk about a company mired in its old business model.
Yeah.
If you can't get delivery, then you can get a DX.
Well, I think that the issue, though, is that I do think that the advantage of the Kindle is, of course, that it will last a long time. It's probably easier on your eyes. But I think that also depends on whether you're planning to read an entire book or whether you're planning to read things in small pieces. I have to admit that I read...
It's great for a linear book, page after page after page. Couldn't be better.
But if you look at reference...
Scanning, it's terrible.
Or if you want to add video or color or whatever, I think that anything that Apple produces that's larger, and to be honest with you, the iPhone, I routinely read large chunks of data from whether it's CNN.com or New York Times or other outlets on my iPhone, and I'm quite comfortable with it. It took me a little while. I thought it was a little kludgy when I started, but once you get used to it, and I think that a larger screen, I think would be much more compelling to me than a black and white, low contrast screen.
Yeah.
And you were talking about piracy earlier. Jason Kincaid at TechCrunch said that piracy was going to save the Amazon DX. That the fact that you can get PDF on there, it's a lot more advantageous to copy over a $70 textbook than it was a $10 paperback. And they're saying that the price differential for the actual media you're trying to get on there will push piracy.
Well, and I think it will, and I agree with that. And I think also though is it also makes the Kindle a more utilitarian piece of equipment. When you only could read what you could buy.
Right.
Or download through the system. I think it was it limited the number of uses you could have for it. But now you can definitely imagine
now, it's an internet device,
and you can definitely imagine companies being able to distribute lots of PDFs to people for meetings or for information or morning other pieces.
Right, executive briefings.
A lot of that
stuff
stuff was difficult when they were controlling that pipe. But being able to move anything over there provides a lot of other uses for this device.
All right, I'm going to pick up. This is going to be interesting. I'm going to pick up one of our callers from the TalkShoe. We've got a good bunch of people in our TalkShoe chat room, and I'm going to pick up Rachel Z, who I mentioned is the only woman in our TalkShoe chat room. So, Rachel, that gives you pride of place. Welcome to This Week in Tech. Rachel, you have a Kindle?
I don't have a Kindle, but the thing I actually wanted to comment on is with being able to do textbooks in theory.
Yeah.
In the future would be perfect because I'm actually dyslexic. And so when I was going through school, I had to get tapes and listen to them and try to read along and stuff. But if they could somehow match up what you're reading in the textbook with the audio and not just the Kindle voice, that would be absolutely perfect for dyslexic people.
You've got to figure that Amazon must be planning something like this. You know, they also own Audible. So wouldn't it be great if they tied the audio on Audible.com? Really good, because, you know, my mom tried the automatic voice, and she said, you know, by the way, it goes, Barack Obama. But she tried the automatic voice. It's too robotic for me. But what if you had Audible with a good quality reader reading the book? They own Audible, tied it into the text.
In my car.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
But you know who would make a killer voice for books? Apple with its voiceover
with Alex.
Which is,
I think the Kindle voice. You haven't probably heard it, Carlos, but I think the Kindle voice is very much like Alex. I think it's probably the AT&T voice synthesizer, which I think is what Alex is based on. Yeah. I don't mean you, Alex. I mean Alex on the.
No, actually, I think I often think that it's based on me. That's the way I view the world. You know.
So, Rachel, would you buy a Kindle if they added that feature?
Oh yeah, hands down. I'm already a Audible listener, and so now I have my book in my iPod, and it'd just be great if they could just be together.
Wouldn't that be nice? Yes, if you're dyslexic, audiobooks are a lifesaver.
One of the other things is that I grew up with dyslexia myself, and one of the big problems is a lot of times what my form of dyslexia was mostly color related. So if I had, on a black on white is the hardest thing for me to read because my brain.
Oh, so you don't mind the black on gray of the Kindle?
No. Well, I actually prefer actually light
white
text
on black,
yeah. Or green on black is really what I can read. The green on black is.
You guys are old school. You're the old.
But it actually it's literally just that I see the patterns. My brain will tend to pick up the patterns of the spaces between the words,
right?
Which is what makes it difficult for me to read it, and so I tend to avoid reading as much, black on white. So, but all of these readers allow you to start customizing
line.
Yeah, your command line.
It allows you to start customizing how you view books rather than however they necessarily set them up.
Hey, Rachel, what are you reading these days on Audible?
I just finished the audio version of Marley and Me.
What did you think? That was that movie, of course, with Owen Wilson and what's her name from Friends?
Jennifer
Aniston. Thanks you. I wasn't crazy about the movie, but was the book pretty good?
I loved it. I loved the movie, and that's why I got the book, and I listened to the book, and I love the book even more.
You're a dog owner, aren't you?
Not presently.
No. Interesting.
No.
Well, we're going to, guess what, Rachel? You're our first listener recommendation on our Audible. How about that?
That's awesome.
Marley and Me. How long have you been an Audible member, Rachel?
Since January.
And you love it?
Yes, I do.
I do, too, I have to say. Are you platinum or gold account?
Just gold.
So 1 book a month. And you mustn't have a long commute.
No, I have about an 8-minute commute.
It's hard to get through a couple of books. I don't have a long commute anymore anyway, but I still have the platinum account. So here's your choice. You can have a gold account with 1 book a month or the platinum account. Now, if you get the platinum account, folks, which is audible.com/twit2, you will get 2 books a month and 2 free books. And the first one, Marley and Me. This is my recommendation. Actually, this is Rachel's recommendation. She says, Marley and Me, Life and Love with the World's Worst Dog by John Grogan. Which was better, the movie or the book?
The book.
Really?
Yeah.
John Grogan, who wrote it, also reads. Let's listen to a little bit of John Grogan. This is Marley and Me. Any minute now, it will come up. Audible.com/twit2. You go there right now, you'll get 2, count them, 2 books. I guess Josh is shy. John, I called him Josh Grogan. That's another person. Yeah, we're not getting the audio, but that's all right. #1 New York Times bestseller. But here's the deal. A huge library of books awaits you. Not just books, comedy, newspapers, podcasts. It's all available at audible.com. You see my book credits remaining 0. I go through them all the time. Audible.com/twit2. You get 2 books free. And Rachel, I thank you for being our very first listener recommendation on the show.
Thanks for letting me.
I appreciate it, Rachel. Keep listening to Twit and keep reading those Audible books. We're glad to have you as a listener. And I'm glad to get your feedback on the Kindle. Let's move along to another story, another big story of the week, which was, I'm trying to think.
Star Trek.
You know, I think this has to do with unmuting all on the... All right, now, I should warn people. There's no way we can discuss this flick. No way we can discuss this flick without spoilers. Are we in agreement here?
Yeah.
Who's seen it? You saw it, Alex?
Yeah.
Oh, you saw it? Well, you were sitting next to me. Did you see it, Brian?
I have.
You saw it at the TechCrunch screening. Louis Gray, have you seen it?
I have not.
No, Louis is anti-Star
Okay,
Trek.
Louis, you stick your fingers in your ears and go me for the next 5 minutes. Okay, will you do that?
I don't intend to see it anyway.
What? What?
My entire family is Star Trek fans, which means I can't be.
What? Carlos, have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen it. I just watched Wolverine.
Oh, you watch. Is Star Trek in Brazil yet?
Yes, it is. It starts the same day that you guys did.
I think that the idea of rolling international releases is gone now.
Well, I think they have to because piracy really pushed that forward.
Yeah.
Because you could see any movie that was released in the U.S. in Africa, I know, within days.
Instantly.
Through from on DVD.
On DVD.
Is there a piracy problem in Brazil?
Well, we have a big piracy problem here. It's all due to economics as well. We have these little Chinese shops on each corner, and they got all these CDs. They all running around from cops, and we do have a.
That's what gets me. The movie industry in the United States criminalizes us. You go to a movie, you pay $10.50 for a movie, and the first thing you see is an ad saying "Stop stealing our movies," and it's not me.
Yeah.
It's those Chinese guys in Brazil. Go show them the ad. I don't need to see that ad.
Well, and I think that one of the things
it's the Chinese guys in Brazil. I blame them.
Yeah, I remember my dad brought back a bunch of DVDs he got in China, and it's like just random quality from the guy who's holding the video camera.
Oh, it's a shaky cam. Yeah, it's handheld. Right. And some of them are Oscar screeners. You don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah,
you don't know what you're going to get. Well, all right. So I'm going to chase everybody away, except Louis. You don't have to leave because you don't care. Wait a minute. How could you not care? You don't like Star Trek?
It's one of those generational things. I don't know what the right answer is, Leo. My little brothers and sisters love the fantasy, the Dragonlance series, the Star Trek, the Star Wars, and it just never hit me.
You're too old for it.
I like sports and biographies. It was just different.
I don't know what we're going to do with you, Louis. I don't know, Louis.
I don't know. I think I need the agenda in advance next time, Leo.
No, just okay. You're not going to go see it, so we can now spoil the movie.
So we're definitely going to have spoilers, huh?
Are you you're gonna cover your ears?
Or
no, we don't have to do spoilers. I don't know. Okay, what's a spoiler? What's a spoiler? First of all,
define a spoiler. Yeah.
There's spaceships.
There's spaceships. You loved it, Alex. You said it was the best movie you'd seen since Matrix.
Well, no, I think it's the best. I think it's one of the best sci-fi since
Matrix.
I think that it was well done. I think one of the things that made it
$75 million weekend.
It's a good weekend. Now it's a $130 million budget, so they still have a ways to go to pay it off. But they will.
They will.
Well, they've got, and here's the big difference: is they've got great audience review, they've got great critical review, they've got all the things that are necessary.
And they've got the
hardcores. Right.
I mean, the hardcore
the Trekkers love it.
I mean, I was walking last night to the Robot Games thing that Scott put on, and I was past the Metreon, and Trekkies were out.
A lot of guys with ears.
Trekkies were out.
We saw some guys with the Star Trek shirts.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that the thing is that what was great though is that while Trekkers were into the to the process, I think one of the things that was important was that J.J. Abrams didn't come from a Trekker background, didn't come from it being a huge
He wasn't
fan.
a hardcore.
He came from it. I'm going to make a great movie. I'm going to tell a great story.
He didn't know anything about it. You said he wasn't
not very much. Not in some of the interviews he just said, I'm not a big Star Trek fan.
Genius how he pulled that wide of a swath.
You know what the genius is? Spoiler alert. This is the genius alert. Well, that isn't a spoiler, but he managed to reset the timeline, so now he can do anything he wants.
Yeah. Right.
In other words, he's
I heard that.
I didn't say how, but he did something.
No, actually, a friend told me before you. So,
but he's done something I think very clever because he can start the franchise over without being too tied to the fact.
He doesn't have to get to a certain point somewhere in the future.
He's
Because we have
100% creative.
He can do whatever he needs.
And that's
well. And imagine, I mean, one of the biggest problems with making a Star Trek movie is the Trekkers. I mean, they're both the blessing and the curse.
Well,
because
if
you say, "Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Spock. There's no way he could have known that the I mean, and so this way he could just say, well, it's an alternate timeline, dude.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, unlike Star Wars. I mean, I grew up as a very young kid when I was Star Wars came out in 79, 80. I was like 5 years old. And I remember seeing it, and I didn't even see the last 3 that were made because I saw the first time. I just completely lost interest. But now, I'm not a big Trekkie guy. I went and saw this movie, and all of a sudden, it's evoking memories and like nightmares that I had as a kid.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that also they spent a lot more money on this Star.
You told me something interesting. You said that J.J. Abrams decided not to use models.
This was in Post. In Post magazine, there was an article about what they were doing. So it wasn't from any inside information. I was reading the article, and what they were talking about was the fact that because of a lot of dynamic moves, one of the issues you get into is when you really want to make a lot of dynamic moves. You mean
camera moves?
Yeah, big camera moves. It's easier to do that with CG than it is to do it necessarily with miniature. Now, the thing is that typically what happens when I worked, for instance, on Star Wars, when we got really close to the ships, when we're flying right over the very top of them, we're using miniatures. When we're a little further away, we're using 3D models, because a lot of times it's very hard for a CG model to hold up when you get really close to it. And I'm afraid that we saw a little bit of that.
I wasn't sure because we were sitting in the 4th or 5th row. We were fairly close.
I was second row.
We were like IMAX close.
Yeah.
Right.
And I thought maybe because we're so close to the screen, we're seeing it, maybe if you're a little farther back. But to me, it did not feel as real as a model might have.
And I will say that overall, I thought that the graphics were, stellar.
A little too many lens flares for my taste.
Lens flares.
I should have worn sunglasses.
There were a lot of lens flares.
It's like the sun's constantly blinding you in this movie.
So it definitely gave it a look.
That's a style.
It's a style. Yeah, a style that Abrams went after. I think that as we got some of the very close shot of the ships, I didn't feel like there was quite the same level of detail that we would get from a miniature. But it gives you a lot more dexterity to do a lot of different things because you can rebuild the moves. The problem when you use a miniature is what you're doing.
You shoot it and you got it.
Or you're doing a motion control camera. So you're basically, you program the camera, you run it through the thing, and it's a big deal to go back and do it again. Whereas when you're doing CG, you just keep on tweaking it. And so that gave them a lot more flexibility to create much bigger, more dynamic moves on a lot of the ships. So, and as I said, I think that overall, there were definitely places where if you know what noisy smoke looks, what we tend to call purlin noise, whether it's actually purlin noise or not. So when there's certain parts where the ship's going through stuff that some of that smoke is obviously CG from someone who makes CG stuff. I don't know.
If you can recognize it. Yeah, I didn't recognize that.
I look at it and go, oh,
fake smoke.
Yeah,
saw fake smoke. Now, all right, plot wise though, I mean it was a classic Star Trek plot.
It was, but I thought it was much tighter. I thought it was left. I thought it was.
Yeah. I think if Louis Gray goes to see this and he's not a Star Trek fan, he's going to say, "What? What is? Come on! Oh, come on! Oh, please! Oh no! What? He injected the red stuff? Oh, come on!"
Right. Yeah.
There's some stuff where you go, "Come on!"
With the red.
Wait a minute! Now, no spoilers. Okay. No spoilers. You can't say.
Was he bringing stuff back from Alias?
Was that from Alias?
I think so.
The TV show Alias?
Yeah. There's some red stuff in Alias.
I don't think it's the same red stuff.
And Alias kind of just ended. Like I never.
Oh, you think JJ actually is kind of tying his other stuff together?
Who knows?
Oh, that's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I liked, speaking of red, and this is not a spoiler. Who's breathing? Carlos, are you breathing? Who's breathing? Maybe that's
not.
Maybe that's
I am
Louis.
breathing, but not in the
You're not allowed to breathe. Whoever's on this, I think it's you, Louis. Move that microphone a little away from your nose. There you go. He's all head up because of this Star Trek stuff.
I'm wasting my time on this.
More of this Star Trek stuff.
I can't talk about
we'll
friend
almost
feed?
do. We'll talk about friend feed in a little bit. I'm trying to get away from the social media. Now I'm overdoing the Star Trek stuff. I can't win.
Well, there you go.
But one of the things I thought first of all, maybe because JJ wasn't a Star Trek fan, and I think he had a book saying you got to say this, and this. He hit every post, right?
But I thought it was done well. I thought when they inserted it was just inserted well enough that it really ties it all together.
Oh no, and you can hear the gasps in the audience when Scotty says, "Captain, I'm giving it all she got."
Yeah,
and everybody goes, "Yeah,
yeah, exactly."
And but did you notice red shirt guy. They even had a red shirt guy.
And not only that, they had a cocky red shirt guy.
Yeah. Did I not lean in? Did I not lean in?
Yeah.
And say red shirt guy?
The only thing Leo says during the movie is because he's quiet the whole movie, but there's one part where this cocky guy in a red shirt, and Leo leans over and he's like, "There's the red shirt guy."
I was so pleased that he did that because that was really
for me. The single thing was what came out, and well, I can't.
Don't spoil it. We haven't spoiled it yet.
It was something that was in, I think, Star Trek 2 or 3 that caused me a great deal of nightmares and that kind of stuff.
Oh, I'm gonna have to think about that now.
Yeah,
and somebody's saying in the talk show that he wasn't crazy about that. Felt like it was a little forced when Bones says, "Damn it, Jim, I'm a doctor, not a physicist."
Right.
Or Spock, I think. Damn it, Spock.
That one seemed a little
forced.
A little forced.
And I think the guy playing Bones was almost doing an impression of Bones, kind of.
Yeah.
Simon Pegg was so good as Scotty.
Yeah.
No, this was definitive Scotty. Right. I'm sorry, James, but this was the definitive Scotty.
Yeah, it was a fantastic Scotty.
Well, he's actually.
And I thought the portrayal of Spock was good, and Kirk.
Chekhov's accent.
I
don't know what to say about it. Just Chekhov's accent.
Yeah. He reminds me of the Russian guy in that stupid Bruce Willis movie, Armageddon.
Yeah.
Or one of those crazy, it's
a little over
guy
the top.
up on the space station.
It's a little over the top.
I think they were having fun with it. I don't think.
Well, they clearly were because there's a comedic scene.
Yeah. So I think that was purposely
all right.
A little over.
Scott TD is in our talk show chat. Scott says he went to the movie and he went in costume. Woo! Scott, what was your costume?
Well, I'm actually studying engineering. My name is Scott, so I went as Scotty in the Wrath of Khan era uniform.
There you go.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. Did you have that, or did you actually make that?
We made, me and two friends of mine, all in engineering, made them
that's so great.
Last year for Halloween because we realized the movie was coming out, so ordered the parts. My mom helped us assemble them because she's the master seamstress, so it was really awesome. People were taking our pictures.
Oh, and say hi to your mom because it's Mother's Day.
Oh, already did.
Good. She doesn't listen to Twit, probably.
No, my dad does, though, so he's going to be kind of confused when he listens to this.
And what did you think? Give us your review of the movie. Were you satisfied?
I was completely satisfied. I don't think the movie could have gotten any better, and it could have been a lot worse because it could have been wrecked. But I think
it could have been. It could have been a nightmare. Absolutely, yeah.
And so it was
J.J. Abrams. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of the fact that he wasn't married to Star Trek, he wasn't a big fan. Therefore, he could just make it up whatever he wanted to, and then bring in the allusions to the old thing, the thing about Admiral Archer and his dog, which I even missed while watching it, and all these other little cute things he could bring in as opposed to having to write the story with needing those things to be there. So I think that's how it really succeeds.
I remember when the first Star Trek movie came out, there was this frisson when Kirk and Spock appear on deck that you're seeing them again. And there was this kind of wonderful sensation of, wow, they're back. And I'll never forget that. I mean, I got chills seeing that first movie. And he was able to do a little bit of that, seeing them young. The first time the kid says, James Tiberius Kirk, there's just this little frisson of, wow, that's, we're back, baby.
Right.
And
we're back and we can do whatever we want.
He reset this movie. They've got all the worm in the world to play.
I mean, I was thoroughly entertained
by
that movie from start to finish.
What was your favorite scene, Scott? You got to pick one. No spoilers, but just.
Well, that's the hard part. So actually, I'd have to say, talking about the models and how it looked, I was fairly close up, and I didn't notice anything from the model being digital.
Alex is different. Alex has an eye. He's looking with a professional's eye, so he's going to see stuff.
And I think it was fantastic. I don't want to say that it wasn't. It just, I felt like a physical model might have felt still a little bit more real than
you don't get those great hero shots. Well, they did a hero shot of Enterprise, for instance, where you're seeing in all the windows and stuff. It didn't feel to me like those classic hero shots of earlier movies where every detail is there, like you're really looking at something real. It felt a little... Now, I'm not sure because I was so close, but it just felt a little soft. It didn't feel quite as realistic as a model might have.
The level of detail, and what I'm thinking is, like the scenes from Star Wars where like the Emperor's looking out at space and
right.
The Death Star and that kind of thing, where it's like, wow.
Well, especially you notice it when they're really, really like inside the ship, like going between support panels and stuff, where the ship is just full frame. That's where I felt like it wasn't. I said it wasn't completely.
See, that didn't bother me as much because I was admiring the fact that they made the ship real. It's the first time you see pipes in the Enterprise. You see ducting. You see stuff happening. And it really looked like you were geeky stuff, like you were in the bowels of an actual ship. And we've never seen that before. I mean, that normally the Enterprise is sleek and clean, and there's no, maybe Scotty's climbing inside the core, but it's all beautifully lit. And this looked like it was a working ship. I liked it.
Yeah.
There were pipes in the original series because they were all labeled GN, which is goes nowhere, does nothing.
Oh, Scott, you are a Trekker. Now I know. Hey, Scott.
Maybe I shouldn't have admitted that.
Really goes nowhere, does nothing. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's hysterical. That's wonderful. Hey, Scott, thank you for being on the show.
Yes, no problem.
Keep that engineering outfit. You might need it. Starfleet might be calling you up.
I thought it was the casting was very interesting all the way across.
Excellent casting.
I thought it was a really good casting. I thought that Winona Ryder did well.
I didn't know it was her until I saw.
I didn't either.
Now, she was aged, right?
I think she was aged.
I don't think Winona has those kinds of bags under her eyes. And you noticed in the credits there was a company that goes
back and forth. Yeah, typically they're known for making people look younger than they are.
But that's the same as making somebody look older, right?
Well, yeah, it's in some ways. So Lola effects, that's their specialty. So in the credits, they were there, and their specialty.
We should say Winona Ryder is Spock's mom if you want to watch for her.
Right.
But you'd never. I don't think you'd notice it unless you knew it was her. You noticed it, Alex. I was shocked when I saw her in the credits.
I kind of recognized, but I was like,
well, I said, "Who is that? She's beautiful. She's somebody. I don't know who she is."
Right. Right. Yeah. And but I mean, even
of course, under her robe, she had stolen three faux necklaces and a pair of gloves from.
The extra
Ow!
years.
I shouldn't bring that up. That's mean.
That's another kind of bag, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But even guys like, I mean, I thought that Ben Cross, who played Spock's father, as an actor that you see in lots of little places, and you just wouldn't expect to put him in. He
was great,
and he was.
He had that bone structure that he made him look like a Vulcan. I mean, there was something about his mouth and his bones. He just didn't look quite human, and I thought that was really nicely done. I don't know if that was makeup or if he really looks. Does he look like that?
He is the center of his face looks largely the same, but obviously some of the other
they were doing something to him.
But yeah, it's so anyway. But a lot of and Eric Bana you wouldn't think of Eric Bana as Nero.
No, he was a very good Nero.
Yeah, he did.
Oh boy,
he did really well.
The Romulans in this movie are evil, baby.
Yeah.
They are bad.
But here's the thing: is that they're bad.
Hush your mouth! I'm talking about Romulans. I'm sorry.
I think that one of the things that about the Romulans, though, is that he did not I guess it's the wrong word to say humanize, but he did make it his beef real. Rather than with a lot of Star Trek, you get these kind of crazy, we're angry,
Excellent
we're going to
point.
do whatever, and
you almost wanted to feel sorry for him.
Well, he created a reason for them really to be angry, which I think is more story development than we see oftentimes in Star Trek.
That's because he's an actor.
Well, but I mean, as far as the story,
the script, I agree with you. I'm just teasing you. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back with a story. Give a guess before we go to the break. Give a guess. How many homes in the United States do not have landlines, what percentage of homes do not have landlines but just have cell phones? Don't tell me, Alex Lindsay. We're going to hold on. We're going to come back in just a bit. Carlos, you can play this game too, even though you're in Brazil, and I'd like to know what the percentage is in Brazil. Louis Gray, thank you for listening through this entire boring Star Trek episode. You couldn't care less, could you?
He's been on Friend Feed the whole time.
He's been on Friend Feed?
Yeah.
Have you been posting on Friend Feed? He's not saying.
Well, you've got a live chat there, so you might as well participate.
It's true. We got 412 comments already, and we're just a quarter of the way through.
Watching that comment stream is amazing.
We should tell people that I have lately on Twit been starting. We have a Twit room, a Twit conversations room. We actually have a number of Twit rooms on Friend Feed, which I created a long time ago. But there's one Twit-conversations where every time we start a new show, I'll start a conversation. So if you're on Friend Feed, you can follow that. and participate, and we watch it, and it goes quite. It's really a kind of a static, persistent chat room. It's
like
an
a static
thing.
IRC channel.
Yeah. I actually want to ask you, Louis, what you think now that Friend Feeds Beta is out. We'll talk about this also in a little bit. What you think of what they've done with the
Yay, social media!
Oh, stop it! Oh, just stop it! By the way, Brian is on Twitter as
Infinitely Meta.
Of course he is. Meanwhile, I'd like to talk about Squarespace.com. Show of hands. Anybody here using Squarespace? Squarespace? Anybody?
We are going. Leo's just throwing me a softball here. We're going crazy with Squarespace.
So, what do you mean? What do you mean? We Pixel Core?
Pixel Core. We started off, moving TWIP log. So TWIP this week in photography is on it now, and so we put up our online presence there as twiplog.com, and it was so easy to adjust. Aaron Mailer and I, what was great is we'd sit there on Skype. And the two of us had a 2-hour session and like designed almost the whole thing, and I could move stuff around. Aaron could move stuff around. We could move, and so.
You mean in design terms? It's really cool that way. You can drag and drop.
You decide how the width of the main content area. Huh. You can drag and drop everything that you need to do. And here's the thing that's important. And
wait a minute. Rachel, you said you used Squarespace before we did.
Yes.
All right.
I heard about it on Dignation.
Rachel. I'm gonna see if we can get the hat trick for you, get you in every commercial. So Rachel now is an Audible and a Squarespace user. You have about 15 minutes to try our third sponsor. I'm not going to tell you who it is, Rachel.
But I think that the thing that we're really excited about related to Squarespace is the idea that the people who are managing our content are not having to email somebody to ask them to make a change in the website. And so the thing is when someone who's managing a certain area of our websites needs to make a change and there's a structural change that needs to be made, they can make it on their own. Right. Now, we still are going to need to do some custom code to get some of the stuff done that we want to do. But you
can do that because it takes JavaScript. You can do anything. I mean,
exactly.
I put
so you can make the adjustments that you need to. So it's not that you're limited to whatever Squarespace gives you. You can inject code into the system, but you can build the entire skeleton of what you're doing on something that is very malleable, very changeable. You can, if you decide somewhere down the road you don't like Squarespace, one of the things that made us feel safe was that we could export it out to WordPress.
I love it. Import from Blogger, movable type, typepad, WordPress, export to. Rachel, what's your site? Do you want to give it out on the air?
Oh, sure. It's girlsnightinradio.com. It goes along with one of my podcasts.
Oh, so you're a podcaster.
Never heard
I
of
have 2 podcasts.
And one of them's called Girls Night In?
WordPress.
Girls Night In Radio.
Okay. And what's the other podcast?
Sims 2 Challenges.
Jim's 2 Challenges.
No, Sims.
Sims 2 Challenges. Oh, so you challenge people to do stuff in Sims?
Yeah, people write different challenges and then I review them.
Oh, that's cool. Look at this. This is beautiful. So this is on Squarespace. How hard was it to get that design in there?
Not too hard. I think it took me probably about 4 hours total to get the whole site up and running.
And I noticed it has a podcast player. That's handy. So people can go there and listen to your show.
Yep.
Very cool. girlsinradio.squarespace.com. So there's a unsolicited, until I put her on the air, I guess I kind of solicited it at that point, but unsolicited testimonial for Squarespace. It's more than a blog. It's more than a podcasting medium. You can do forums, photo galleries. It's really your next web host as well as your next content management system. Complete permissions for multiple editors. That's kind of how you use it, Alex. Yeah. Cloud architecture gives it speed and site stability. I mean, it's, you get dug, don't worry about it. Kevin Rose uses it. I guess that's indignation, apparently. Yeah. Squarespace.com/twit. Free to try. No credit card needed. And if you use twit as the coupon code, when you sign up, you're going to get 10% off. You could say dignation, but use twit, okay?
I'll do it right now.
I want you to sign up again, Rachel, with my coupon code, okay? No, you don't have to. But I bet you Dignation never gave you a plug for your blog and your podcast. Squarespace.com/twit. We salute them. We thank them so much for their support.
Soon, Squarespace iPhone app.
Oh, now that's interesting. I didn't know that. iPhone app. Huh?
And like social, Flickr. Now you have my attention.
These guys, Dane and Anthony, who's the programmer, are brilliant guys. They're really sharp.
Well, and like with other blog sites. I'm starting to play with putting stuff up through Mars Edit, putting stuff up through iBlogger on my iPhone, and all of that's just log in, boom, you're just able to upload.
What framework are they built on?
They're their own.
I mean, is it Java?
It's all their own.
It's
Java.
C?
It's Java. Mm-hmm. It's all Java. They did it themselves. These guys are very talented Java programmers.
Well, that's what I've been doing for 10 years. So.
You know a little bit about that, so you can.
I'm not a programmer, but
even
I know enough to be dangerous.
They're using. I wish I could remember because he told me the virtualization is done through Java as well. So it's very easy for them to add more capacity. It's really cool.
Very interesting.
All right. So the CDC, apparently, the Center for Disease Control, keeps track of landlines. And actually, I was told in our chat room by a nurse, the reason they do is a lot of health monitors use phone lines. So it's something the CDC has to keep track of. They have put out some new results. Huge growth in the number of people not using landlines, using cell phones only. What was your guess, Alex Lindsay, for the percentage of households that have cells only in the United States?
My guess is that it is a third.
33%? What do you think, Daniel? I mean, Brian. Daniel.
Yeah.
You think a third's too high, too low?
I
think it's
about right.
It's
right about right.
Carlos, what would it be in Brazil? It's probably very high in Brazil, right?
I would think more, yeah.
In Brazil, it's still very high. Cell phone, mobile market, it's a big thing here. But a lot of people still have the landlines. A lot of them also get the usual land number with their cell phones.
Oh, that's interesting. It comes with it. Oh, that's very interesting. Hey, Lewis, what about you? Do you still have a landline? You're a young, hip kind of dude.
My wife has a landline. I'll put it that way. 24% would be my guess.
Well, you guys kind of ruined the story because it's 20%. 20%. I thought that was a lot. That's 1 in 5 people in the U.S., an increase of 3 percentage points over the first half of the year, the largest 6-month increase since the government started collecting such data. Now, here's the other side of it. 17% don't have cell phones. 17% are landlines only.
Well, and we haven't had a landline for 10 years. Well, I haven't had a landline.
You're one of those people.
Well, I just, part of it was I was moving a lot for a little bit of, in the early part of this decade. And but then I just couldn't. I didn't want to deal with people calling me. I didn't want to deal with all the other pieces, and I just wanted one number people get a hold of. I didn't want to say this is my home line, this is my cell phone.
You actually are probably correct because, in addition, there's a 15% of the households have landlines but don't use them. They're there for emergency.
I have Comcast as my provider for cable, internet, and VoIP.
Right.
So I have a Comcast line. I own apartments, so that's my business line.
Right.
I don't answer that phone ever.
You never use it.
I have a voicemail when I have apartments to rent. I put the ad up there, and that's it.
So you're in a large group of people. It's same thing, Carlos. You have a landline, but you don't use it.
I use it for toll-free
internet, phone, and TV. It's a whole package. I don't use the landline. It's just for emergencies and maybe my dad calling me from Brasilia. That's it.
The crazy thing is that if I make a phone call from home and I'm not using my cell phone, I'm calling out of Skype. I'm not. I don't think.
Yeah, me too.
I
rarely use my cell phone anymore. I use Skype all the time.
Right.
So
the only thing I use my landline for on a day-to-day basis is conference calls where I'm dialing an 800 number.
Right.
Because we have bridges. Everybody in our company has.
So, I think Alex, you win this because about a third of people in the U.S. don't use a landline. They use their cell phone in lieu of a landline. Some of them still have a landline, but it's vestigial.
Right.
Of people 18 to 24, about a third of people only have cell phones. They don't have landlines in the house. So you're right there too. So it's really the older folks who are putting the landlines, giving the landlines some credence. But that's a big shift.
Security, but I think as you start to, when you start having people who are moving around a lot and are used to,
that's why you want a single line.
You don't want to tell people
single number.
This is my cell number. This is my, and this gets back into
that's where Google Voice.
That's exactly where I was going because Daniel just turned. I've had a Grand Central account and I upgraded.
Oh, you never upgraded?
I've never used it.
No,
so when I called Daniel, I was like, wow, I have 5 cell phones. Like I need it. And it sounds like it's a very good service.
The first big thing for me was moving to where my business card now has my Google Voice number, and that was a big shift over where I'm ready to commit to just giving someone one number. Now I route some people to my office, some people to my cell phone, some people and I can set all that up on the web.
The fact that you have control over that,
absolutely.
I mean, I carry 3 cell phones around. It's ridiculous. Yep. I mean,
let me ask in the chat room, TalkShoe chat room, if somebody wants to talk about Google Voice. Who's in there that would like to talk about Google Voice? Looks like a lot of people. Jeff Carter says he's using it for your students. Hi, Jeff. Welcome to This Week in Tech.
Hi, Leo. How's it going?
It's good. So you're a teacher or a professor?
I am. I'm a professor. Yeah, I teach science, biology, neuroscience, that kind of thing.
And where?
I do this here in beautiful Loma Linda, California.
Awesome. So you have a landline and you have a cell phone, but you use your Google Voice line how?
I do. I tell you, I've got at least 3 different phone numbers. Google Voice, what it does, what's so great about it, is it allows me to give my students one number, right? And it's a number that's not necessarily associated with my personal information. That being said, what's great about it is when they call me up, with an excuse about why they can't quite make it to class that day, it rings up on all of my lines. And
right.
So it's pretty handy.
And you know what I love? Now, I don't know if you use this. I have it text message me with the text of the call. Now, the text is the voice recognition is not great.
Right.
But I can usually kind of figure out what's going on based on the context. It gives me enough
to understand.
Do you use that, Jeff?
Absolutely. As I get older and my students get younger, I find that they very much prefer to send me a text message as opposed to leaving me a voicemail.
Yes.
And what's great is with the Google Voice service is when I reply back to their text message, it reflects the Google Voice number. Again, protecting my personal.
That's nice. So you call back via Google Voice.
Absolutely.
I would think Skype might be a little threatened by Google Voice, frankly, because Google Voice is going to offer cheaper calls to international calls.
I think it still needs to be a little bit more. It's still smoother as far as an experience
to use
goes
Skype.
To use Skype, I think that's one of the things.
Now, we have to say, I apologize for those of you who are listening and saying, well, darn it, I want Google Voice, because they aren't yet public. I don't know when they're going to do that. They say they're going to do it.
Right.
But right now, I can't send you an invite. I would.
Whenever
you were lucky you signed up for Grand Central.
Beta came out, I signed up for all that crap.
Every time I see one of those things, I get an invitation from Leo or I get an invitation from somebody else. I'm always like, I just sign up, put my name in.
Just do it.
Just to reserve it. You never know. I mean, half of them are out of business, but there are a couple that I've definitely.
How about you use Google Voice, Louis, or is that something you're aware of? Or?
I'm aware of Google Voice, obviously.
Not lucky enough
right now.
To have one.
The Skype I'm using here, you'll see I get kicked off every 20 minutes. So
why is that?
The iPhone's the best thing. This happened on other podcasts as well. We're kind of used to it. So we watch the time, and then in 8 minutes I'll die off, and we'll start again.
Who's your internet service provider?
It's Comcast, just like everybody else.
I have a feeling Comcast is screwing with you.
If that's true, we don't have it nailed yet. But we can't complain about this.
Every 20 minutes is a little too regular, if you ask me. That's very strange.
Constant.
Wow. All right. Well, that's good. I'll just keep an eye out, and I'll dial you back. Carlos, this is another fine service from Google that they say they're never offering internationally.
It's always the other countries that get these kind of services rolled out.
I have friends in Canada. I used to go to Canada all the time, and the Canadians are bitter. About the fact that iTunes isn't this, and Amazon and Hulu and the Kindle, and this must really gripe you.
We're also locked out of iTunes, not the App Store because the iPhone is a big thing here, but it's been in Brazil, I don't know, for less than a year. It's huge. We can get the apps, but we cannot get tracks from the iTunes stores.
Isn't that ridiculous?
And it's all. This is all.
It's not Apple's fault.
Right. It's not Apple. It's not Google. It's all of the internet.
We do have credit cards.
Yeah, and I imagine that there's probably a pretty brisk market in credit cards with U.S. addresses. I know that in Canada, that's one way people handle that. If you have a U.S. address.
Of course, we have ways around it.
Right.
I have an iTunes account. I can buy tracks, but it's almost a hack,
Right.
You get yourself, an American address, and then you just do it.
Carlos,
people are actually doing it.
Yeah, of course they are, and because there's demand for it. And I guess it's really the record companies, the publishers, and it's people who are tied to business models that unfortunatately are old-fashioned. They're fading out. They're nationalistic. and it doesn't make sense.
I can see some movement been actually starting here to change this. We don't get. For once, we don't get Hulu here. We don't get Hulu, but Fox just we don't have that. And actually, we're also locked out of Last.fm, because it's only I think in the United States or Germany, right?
Yep.
Without pay.
Yep. Pandora too.
Yeah, Pandora.
Love Pandora.
That's why I hate liking songs on FriendFeed, because I know everybody that's outside the U.S. can't listen to it.
How about Blip FM? Can you guys do Blip FM in?
Yeah, sure. We love Blip FM, man.
Yeah, see, Blip FM is a way around this, and we talked to them. I love it. It's kind of a Twitter for music, so you pick the song and you blip it, and then it goes on your Twitter or your friend feed. But the songs are coming from other people's posted MP3s. So it strikes me as highly illegal. However, they say, we interviewed them on Net at Night. They said, we've got to deal with the record companies. No, it's okay. So I don't know what they're up to, but I love Blip FM. That's a solution for people, international listeners.
What about Last.fm?
Last.fm, he was just saying, doesn't work in Brazil, right?
Yeah, it used to work before they passed that whole new strategy to charge for outside the U.S. and Germany, right?
Oh.
So, yeah. A lot of my friends got really bumped out about that. A lot of them just simply stopped, listening to Last.fm, and they were really, really hooked. It's a big thing, especially among tech people here.
Well, Jeff, I thank you for being on the show with us, and say hello to all your students in Loma Linda.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Great to talk to you. Thank you. Yeah, I think we're big fans of Google Voice. We look forward to having it available.
It's
huge. Universally. Hey, here's the final shoe finally dropped. After years and years of being the laughingstock of the gaming community, Duke Nukem Forever is finally, well and truly, officially dead. Thank God. I shouldn't say thank God. I feel very, very sad for the developers of 3D Realms. I mean, they've been working on this thing for
12 years.
12 years. I'm sorry. I'm not going to laugh.
12 years. 12 years.
I'm crying.
12 years.
I'm not laughing.
And I thought enterprise, software development cycles are long.
12 years, and finally they just ran out of money.
And that's what we call mission creep. I think that was the issue.
Wow. Take-Two.
The original was such a good...
Say again?
The original was such a good game.
Oh, I love Duke Nukem, yeah.
Yes. It got me hooked when I was a kid.
And, the trailers we saw. In fact, we saw a trailer as recently as a year ago for Duke Nukem Forever that made it look like it was imminent. It looked really good.
The problem was Forever was actually going to the production cycle. If they had actually given it a specific time span, it would have been completed, but their big problem was naming it Forever. Kind of like a never-ending
Your mistake
is
forever. A bad name.
Yeah.
Take-Two says that they retain the publishing rights to Duke Nukem Forever. But they can confirm that the relationship was a publishing agreement only. It didn't include providing funds. And 3D Realms has essentially run out of money.
Yeah, and evidently, this is from the chat room from Phil404. It said Duke Nukem it's Duke Nukem for never.
For never.
Yeah.
Thank you. Duke Nukem Trilogy, however, continues. The handheld version continues under development with Apogee and Deep Silver.
Now, some of if you do a little searching around, I think I might have tagged this for Twit, but some of the artwork, some of the galleries.
Yeah, release some of that stuff.
They have. There's some galleries up there. I don't know how long they'll be there. So if you're listening or watching,
whatever collateral you've got, release it.
Go check it out because it's some of the individual artists I think have released it. So
couldn't somebody come along and take an existing engine and say, port it over to that and say, well, we'll do a open source.
It would be a lot of work. Yeah, it would be a lot of work. And Take-Two it doesn't have any real reason to make that possible.
Or as Electronic Arts used to call it, take $2 billion. That's what they were going to buy it for.
Wow.
$2 billion. Yeah. $2 billion. Let's see here. We're going to get to some more stories in just a second, but I do want to mention, all right, this is your chance. We're going to see one more time if Rachel uses this. Our next sponsor.
This is going to be a big curve, too.
I have to check. I think it's... Well, I don't want to say it out loud until I know. Yes, it is. Go to my PC. Rachel, Do you... Oh, she's gone. She didn't want to... Oh, wait a minute. There she is. Rachel, do you use Go to My PC? She's going for the hat trick, ladies and gentlemen.
I have used it. I actually just used it a couple weeks ago.
You're lying. You're lying to me
I'm
now.
Not. No, I'm not.
You've actually hit for the hat trick, Rachel.
The trifecta.
Yeah.
The trifecta.
Yeah.
Tell me.
My co-hosts on my show, we're all in different states, and so we take turns editing. And it was my co-host in California's turn, and there were some mix-ups with the files, and we had to realign all three of our tracks back up together. And she had no idea how to do it, so she installed it, and I went on and taught her how to do it.
Unbelievable. Isn't that amazing? There you go. That's great for tech support. It's great for remote access to your system. You know, nobody these days wants to stay at work any longer than you have to, especially if you're surrounded by people who are sick with the flu. You want to go home, and if you're sick, you want to be able to stay home. Go to My PC lets you do that. Go to mypc.com/Windows. You don't have to be a tech expert. You figured, Rachel, would you call yourself a tech expert?
I'm medium.
Medium. Did you find it difficult to set up, difficult to use?
No, it's very easy.
Yeah. That's because it's from Citrix. These guys really know what they're doing. Sometimes it takes the more expert you are, the better you're able to make something easy to use. And they've been doing this for years. Wherever you are, in a hotel in New York, on the couch in your living room, an internet cafe in Borneo, at Rachel's house trying to help her partner, you can use it. You can access any program, work on any file, check your email. Rachel, you're amazing. You have used every one of our products here.
I could list off all the stuff from Daily Gizwiz that we've bought too.
Let me ask you on your podcast, is there any gear that you need for that podcast that you'd really like to have? Like a microphone, a recorder, anything I can send you as a gift to thank you for playing our home game?
Oh wow. Off the top of my head, I don't know.
Well, think about it, Rachel, and let me give you my email address. Actually, how am I going to do this? Because I want to make sure it's actually you. Well, what is your email address from your podcast?
That would work.
Okay, so you'll be the only person able to use that address. girlsnightoutpodcast.com. Send me an email, leo@leoville.com. Tell me what you need, or I'm going to send you a prize.
Wow.
Just because you're such a good listener. You bought everything we sell.
My husband uses SpinRite as well.
Oh, man! Now I have to send you 2 prizes. Thank you, Rachel. It's really great to have you on, and I'm glad you use all of these products and you listen to all these shows. And good luck with the Girls Night Out podcast. That sounds great.
In. Girls Night In.
Girls Night In, not out. You're in.
Yeah.
girlsnightoutpodcast.com. girlsnightinpodcast.com.
girlsnightinradio.com.
Give me you know what I need? A new brain. Can you give me that? girlsnightinradio.com.
You got it.
Thank you, Rachel. Think about what you need. A new microphone for one of your co-hosts. How about a Go to My PC, unlimited Go to My PC account? How about that?
That'd be awesome.
All right. I'm going to send you that. We're going to get for you your very own year's subscription to Go to My PC, absolutely no charge. Now, the rest of you could try it free for 30 days. Just go to gotomypc.com/twit. 30 days free. See, everybody who listens gets something. And I'll send you a year, Rachel, of Go to My PC from gotomypc.com. We thank them so much for their support. They're really a great company. I've known them for years, and they make a fantastic product. If you need remote access, that's the way to go. Rachel, that's so cool. We're going to do this every show from now on. I'm just going to get our listeners on here. So Biz Stone goes on The View. These Twitter guys.
Oh, don't get me started.
They become movie stars. Yeah. So now Biz Stone is on The View with can't start this story without getting Lewis on. It's 20 minutes are up. I got to get Lewis back on because I don't want to do a Twitter story without the friend feed guy on here. Lewis is the biggest friend feed evangelist. Lewis, you don't have an investment or stock in the company or anything, do you?
I have no investment or stock.
You're just a fan of the company, and as am I.
I've been using them for a long time, and I recognize their potential very early on. I was responsible for getting Scoble on there, so I apologize on his behalf.
So that was you.
Well, but Lewis, I think because I can't remember how I got on, but it probably was because Scoble was using it. Might have been because of you. I don't remember exactly but boy, as good as FriendFeed was, this new live real-time beta it's a killer app now.
Yeah.
I mean, this is so awesome. Yeah. So the rumor
it's obviously become a great destination for live events. You can see the chat room just flowing.
Oh yeah. 571 comments.
FriendFeed, obviously, it really kind of has the two pieces to it. Number one is your friends. That's what the friend part is for. And the second part is your feeds, and that can be anything. It really is a top-notch aggregation service, gets all of your details from all the services that you're already on, and then enables a conversation platform. A lot of people like to say FriendFeed versus Twitter, but Twitter's an important ingredient in FriendFeed. It really does get those updates from around the web and put them into your feed and let you talk to your friends. But what it also lets you do is have threaded conversations, comments that last more than 140 characters, lets you have pictures, lets you have video. It just makes sense. And so it's not one of those situations where you have to choose one or the other, but it's really kind of difference between radio and a color television with cable. Right?
You sure you don't own stock in this there?
I don't need to own stock to know it's a good company. So Twitter's basically got one thing down, and that's text that's short to your friends and following your friends. And that's it. That's all they do.
Right.
They haven't customized really anything in the last 2 years, with the exception of making sure that the site doesn't crash every 20 minutes like my Skype connection.
Well, you kind of admire them for keeping it simple, right? But at the same time, the function, and sometimes people say the FriendFeed is hard to use because its functionality is so,
right,
much greater. And I don't find that to be the case. I
would say the same thing, to be honest. At times, I've requested that they find a way to make a lighter version for people who are coming in new. If I came in today and saw all the features that they have today, it might be overwhelming. I would have to learn how to hide things, block things, delete things. If you're used to something like Twitter where you follow thousands of people, you can't just jump in on FriendFeed and expect to do the same thing because it's a much richer experience.
Well, Kim Kardashian can. Did you see that?
Yes, she followed 45,000 people. I was one of the lucky ones who didn't get followed, which is good.
So she, as I understand it, Kim is some sort of B-grade celebrity with large mammary glands, which apparently is her key to success. And there's a reality show on her, I believe.
Right.
But I never heard of the name. But anyway, she was on Twitter, I gather, and then had quite a few followers on Twitter. Now there's this new thing on FriendFeed where when you join FriendFeed, you can add your Twitter social graph to FriendFeed, all your followers and friends. Is that what it was, Lewis?
You can log in using your Twitter credentials using OAuth, and in a single click, it will check your friend feed. It'll check all of friend feed for people who you're already connected to on Twitter and automatically subscribe you to
So that's what happened, right? She got her friends from Twitter, she added them.
Yep. So if she already had hundreds of thousands, and I don't know because I obviously don't follow the lady, but if you've got hundreds of thousands of people on Twitter and you happen to have 20 to 40% of them already checking out friend feed, then she would have been automatically subscribed to dozens of thousands of people. The interesting coverage around that was that less than 1% of those people she followed her back.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at her feed, there's not that much going on.
No, a lot of people tend to use FriendFeed as kind of a dumping ground for their tweets.
And, and that's the thing you really don't want to be doing on FriendFeed because people immediately suss you. Well, I see she's got 905 subscribers, 45,000 subscriptions.
Yeah. So that's a 2% return, right?
So what that means is if she goes to FriendFeed, it's going to scroll by at a pretty rapid clip.
Well, yeah, I don't think she's visiting.
How many Scoble have?
If you go back up to the top, it should show how many comments and likes she's ever made. And since
none.
they don't
None.
display,
Zero.
the answer is none. So she's not the best person to give the good friend feed experience. If you would type in either your own or my own address, you could get a better idea for the type of things that do occur.
That's one of the neat things that you can do with friend feed is you can see, for instance, you can see Scoble's friend feed, right? You can see what it looks like for him.
Right.
And what is it? Friends/Scobleizer? Is that how I would do it?
Well, you would go to friendfeed.com/Scobleizer,
Uh-huh.
and there's a link in there that would show who he is subscribed to.
Okay.
I'll just side with you.
23,000 subscriptions. And if I click that, will I see?
So you click it, you get all the names.
Okay. So I could see who he's following.
Right.
But then I can also see his stream. I can see how fast it goes. I'm trying to remember what I think it's friends. I mean, it's kind of fun. He did this to me once. He said, well, type this in, and then you can see how fast my stream goes. And it's kind of like
he did
scary.
He did a quick video last week.
Yeah.
That was just fascinating to me. Because I'm always curious of how he handles the noise.
Well,
as a librarian.
He's a different person from everybody else. Anyway, this started because there was a really incredibly stupid rumor from Fast Company. I mean, just stupid rumor that Apple was going to buy Twitter.
Which doesn't make any sense.
Made no sense. Everybody.
I
mean, I'll fall for these. I'm pretty bad at falling for these. Going, this is a big story.
Well, I thought Jared was dead because Kevin Rose tweeted it out.
You fall for that? Yeah. See, I didn't fall for that one. But I didn't. And this one, this Apple's going to buy Twitter, immediately said, well, I don't care who they know or what source they've got. That's ridiculous. And of course, Biz Stone goes on The View and tells Baba Wawa, we're not for sale. Which is what I always thought. Started. Well, I always thought that. First of all, Ev made plenty of money selling Blogger to Google.
Right.
He's sitting on a pile of money, a pile of dough. He doesn't need to monetize. He's going to make. It's going to be more and more valuable. It's kind of like Mark Zuckerberg. Why should they sell?
Read what Jack is doing next.
Jack has a new Jack Dorsey, who invented the idea of Twitter and was kind of forced out as CEO of Twitter by Ev just a few months ago. What's his new business? He's got something new.
It's called Project Squirrel. That's all there was something on TechCrunch, and it's apparently a hardware and a software device for the iPhone that allows you to convert points of sale. Yeah,
it's a point of sale. You can take credit card.
Okay, so you can.
But they already got that. It's a big ad. That Apple shows a big ad of that all the time. Like, oh, look, you could take credit card. I don't even know why I would want it. Apparently, there's some hardware that you can slide the credit card through, and it doesn't need power.
And it looks like an acorn, which is why it's Project Squirrel.
Silly.
They might as well add Springboard modules if you guys remember those.
Oh yeah, that was who did that? That's right.
Handspring.
Whatever happened to that?
Handspring acquired by Palm, if you remember that. I actually had one of the first Visor phones.
Visor. That's what I was trying to remember. Visor.
I would put it on my desk because it wouldn't fit in my pocket.
Yeah.
And you could add the hardware, little plug-in hardware to it.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I think that one of the things as far as importing stuff, and I don't know anything about Project Squirrel, but I know that the one thing about point of purchase is that you can't use the iPhone. You can't use the iPhone to take pictures of the barcodes because it doesn't focus.
That's why I have a Clarify case.
But you
now
can
I can
with
do
my
that.
G1.
Does it really?
Oh yeah, you haven't seen this? This has a little magnifying glass that slides over so you can take close-ups.
I lost mine.
You lost your Clarify? I love it.
The top part of it.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Just like 2 days ago.
I love the Clarify case.
Well, the G1 can do it.
G1 is a great phone, and you're a G1 user.
Yeah, I do both.
Brian.
I mean, these are my two development platforms.
Me too. Well, I don't develop. These are my two.
But
you're very sparse.
I can't. My problem is.
You know why? I just restored it.
Oh, I was like.
No, I just restored it. The thing. That's
what I call. That's what I call. Sparse.
I jailbroke my phone, and I screwed it up. There's this mode DFU, which should stand for what you think it stands for, because the disk is FU'd. And I jailbroke it, and it never has been right since. I restored it. It's never been right since. So finally, I did the DFU restore, and I'm hoping this will be. So you want to take a picture of something?
I'm trying to find a barcode. Can you grab me one of those books?
So.
Yeah, we'll do. You can do yours.
ProjectSquirrel.org. McNeely says, Project Squirrel. No, that's not it. Become a citizen scientist. Click here to record your squirrel observations. I don't believe that's Jack Dorsey's next business.
No, there was something on TechCrunch.
No. I think this was a wag. A wag making a joke. All right, let me see.
Look clearer.
Yeah, no, it's a really nice thing. It works with Evernote very nicely if you're going to do. You want to use the
because
Evernote.
That's been the big thing that's been missing as far as the being able to just buy stuff.
Let me try it with the G1.
Being able to just buy stuff from your iPhone.
Yeah, he's going to show off now. Brian's.
I've never tried. I just got this phone like less than a week ago.
Oh, you got to try the barcode application. You'll look up the thing, find the cheapest. It's outrageous.
There's a couple of
Lewis, are you an iPhone guy?
I've got mine right here.
When are we going to get a friend feed iPhone app? That's what I want to know.
Why? That's a good question. A lot of people are talking about that.
You kind
real time does. real-time doesn't work too well.
Right.
Friendfeed.com/iPhone is there. It's a great improvement over the original mobile app, which was ff2go.com, which is still good for non-iPhone mobiles. The FriendFeed interface is intended to actually just work in the iPhone, but they have not yet made it a dedicated app.
So. But I would love to see real-time in an iPhone app.
Right.
Would be awesome.
There is also Nambu. Nambu's another.
Yeah, I use Nambu too. Yeah. Wow, yeah. But again, not real-time. It'd be really what we really want is some scrolling. Nintendo is hot. More gaming news. Nintendo's annual profit up 8.5% thanks to success of the Wii and the DS. Doing much better than even Toyota and Hitachi. They're actually probably one of the most successful international companies in Japan right now. They say they're going to expect a 7.5% rise in net profits. What are you doing over there?
So no, there it is.
Yeah. No, I've used that. It's incredible. You
if I was
took
Amazon,
a picture,
I'd be threatened by this.
Well, you took a picture of the barcode, and it looks it up and finds it online. In fact, you can be in a bookstore, take a picture.
Well,
of
it's not
the
Amazon that should be threatened. It's Borders.
Borders is what's threatened. You go into Borders and you take a picture of the barcode, and then it says, "Oh, you can find it cheaper down the road."
Outlets. Well, and the worst part for me is that I sit there and take a picture of the cover of the book because I can send it to Amazon Remembers. And so I look at, I really want this book, and take a picture of the cover. We had an argument over when you should buy a book from Borders online, and some people will order it from Amazon while they're still in the store. I say that you have to get out to the sidewalk.
All right, we're gonna wrap this up in a unique way. This is the volunteer edition of Twit, and it's been great. And I think we have so many people in our talk show chat room that I'm just going to cycle through them. What's your big story of the week? So we're going to just cycle through the people who've asked to be called on, starting with Ben Gold. You're first. I'm sorry, it's not you, Ben. It's Fellis. Fellis. How do you pronounce it? Hey, is it Fellis? Felice? I'm here.
Still there?
Yep, we're here. How do you pronounce your handle?
It would be Fellis.
Fellis. And where are you from, Fellis?
San Jose, California.
And what do you think is the big story that we should be covering on Twit this week?
I don't know. I'm still thinking about Windows release candidate and how well it's going, and some people in the chat room were still wondering how you thought it was going to do in terms of.
We haven't mentioned the fact, and that is actually a big story I kind of left out. Thank you for reminding me that Windows 7 release candidate came out this week. I'm sure millions have downloaded it. I haven't seen numbers. I immediately downloaded, and I have to say I was saying the best version of Windows since Windows 2000. I'm now saying the best version of Windows ever.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, this is a remarkable comeback, I think, from Microsoft.
Yeah. What made it?
Well, XP was a big improvement over Windows 98. They went to the NT kernel. They, got some robustness, some multi-user functionality. A login meant something in XP. But it looked like a Fisher-Price interface. I mean, it had big, colorful buttons. It was just goofy looking. The search dog. Give me a break. The search dog. You go to search, a little puppy comes out. You have to wait for it to come out. Then you type your search, and you have to wait for it to go look. What do they think we are, 4-year-old morons? So, okay, XP, not my favorite operating system, not to mention all the security issues. Vista, the problem with Vista is it was 5 years in, it wasn't done, and they said, we can't hold on any longer. So they released it knowing that they were going to be faced with it was not only heavy, but huge compatibility issues, right. And it really hurt Vista. By the time Service Pack 1 came out, Vista wasn't any lighter, but at least it worked with everything. Right. But it was too late. The public perception of Vista was, this thing is ugly, it doesn't work. So they said, I think they did the right thing, which is they said, all right, we're not going to make any major changes in the core of this thing, but we are going to polish it up. We're going to get rid of the bloat. We're going to make sure it works with everything, and that's what they've done. And so really, Windows 7 is Vista for all intents and purposes, with all the rough edges polished off. It's slick. It's fast. It's much faster. It runs fine on a netbook. You can put it on the Acer. Oh man, it runs great.
Yeah.
Well, in a lot of ways, isn't that what Snow Leopard's going to be for Apple?
That's what Apple.
It's the same operating system.
I don't think it's a coincidence. I think what's happening is that operating systems are fairly mature. There's not a lot of new stuff you could put in one. This is the time for both Apple and Microsoft to say, let's sit back, let's take what we've got, not add major new features, not change the file system, but make it better. Now, what Apple needs to do is they really need to update the file system. HFS is long in the tooth. Right. It is not the best file system out there. They're I presume, moving to ZFS.
is just fantastic.
Which is a huge improvement over any file system anybody's ever used. I mean, this is the file system of the future. Everything that you get with RAID, all the redundancy, the time.
Well, you really
machine
start
stuff.
moving towards being able to do a cloud of data.
Yeah,
I got a bunch of drives that are all piped in. I can pull drives out, put drives in. Yeah.
So we're still HFS on the Mac. We're still NTFS on Windows. However, in every other respect, I think it's time to step back, retrench, and say, let's make this better. And that's what they really have done that with Windows 7. So, fellas, to answer your question, yeah, I think it's great. Now, I did this on the radio show, and I think I made a mistake because I think a lot of people started downloading Windows 7. Just some things to remember. It's beta. It's not released yet. You're going to have to reinstall at some point, either when it comes out in September or October. And we know, by the way, that it will be out October 23rd because Acer accidentally told everybody that. They said, we're going to sell a computer. Yeah, we're going to sell a computer with Windows 7 on it October 23rd. So basically, that's pre-announced from Microsoft. They may even be before then.
Right.
But even if you do install the beta, and by the way, they're not limiting it. Anybody can get it. You can download the 32-bit or the 64-bit or both. You get a serial number. It's going to be good for a year. It's going to be good through 2010.
I've had a number of friends that go, oh, I wish I could run it. Well, believe it or not, you can. You can just go out and get it free for a year, and it's a Windows operating system, perfectly legitimate. It's wonderful.
It's an important paradigm shift for Microsoft.
Have any of you guys tried on using it on VMware as an image?
Yes.
Yeah.
Does it work well? I just got my MacBook Pro, and I'm thinking about trying it. So should I try it?
I'm going to tell you, I have got another little thing. In fact, I'll probably tell you about this on Mac Break Weekly also. I started using Sun's VirtualBox, which is a free version of Parallels or VMware. And it's free. Ooh. It's every bit as good. And Windows 7 runs great on it.
Well, and the thing is, this is really, right now, if you're going to have a dual boot machine, this is a great way to do it because you get it free for a year.
Free for a year.
So if you're going to get VMware or Parallels or Sun, the thing to do is do that.
So now you get either with the boot system,
right.
What is it?
A boot camp.
Boot camp. Or with VirtualBox from Sun, you get a completely free, and Windows 7. Macintosh users get Windows
for free for a year.
For a year. Now,
I doubt that there are going to be a lot of them sliding
in a year. It's going to stop running every 2 hours. It's going to have the Lewis Gray effect.
As you're starting to try to figure out, how much are you going to actually use it, and how much, because there are a lot of, all of our new machines all are dual boot. And there are definitely legitimate reasons we're going over to Windows. Now I have to admit we're still on XP. So we'll move up.
This is time. I really think this is the program that you're going to want to use. I mean, it is a really awesome program. Fellas, thank you for reminding. Yes, I do think it's the best version of Windows ever in terms of performance, reliability, security. I mean, if you're still using XP for security alone, you need to move to Windows 7.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about IE8, but so what? You put Firefox on there, and you're fine.
It's the first thing I download.
Thank you, fellas, for calling. I appreciate it.
No problem at all, Leo.
All right.
You're great.
Take care. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being on our first volunteer twit. Element 1.
Hey, Leo. Element J.
J. I'm sorry. 1 looks like J to me because I'm old. Where are you calling from?
I'm in San Antonio.
Did we miss a big story, Element J?
No, you just hit on it with Windows 7. I'm just surprised that I out of my closet, I dug up a 6-year-old ThinkPad that I had, installed Windows 7 on it, and completely just amazed at the performance that I got out of that 6-year-old laptop.
Wow. That's something that's a testimony.
Yeah.
And then it makes you wonder, well, why couldn't they do that before? What were they doing with Vista? It took them 5 years, and they came out with a pig.
Well, I think it's when you're writing fast and you're adding features, it's a lot harder to get back to clean code, to get back straight to the metal.
So maybe that's the key. Is you're a developer, Brian. So the key is you sit back and you say, okay, let's fix this. We've got our template, we've got our roadmap. Let's go back. Let's sit back and fix it.
Yeah, I suspect that Vista got so bloated as a project that it became almost impossible to manage. And when you're like a developer and you have to write unit tests,
lean into the mic there.
Functional tests, unit tests, it makes it really hard.
Now you're using a netbook there. Windows 7 would run great on that. That's Atom based, right? You're a fan of the Atom processor. You said something kind of provocative before we began. You thought Atom was going to be a revolution.
I think the Atom processor is a game-changing
Why?
device. Because I get 7 hours of battery life with the N280 chip.
What?
Yeah.
You're getting 7 hours? That you're using the EPC?
This is the brand new 1000 HE.
How much? Is it a 6-cell or a 9-cell?
It's a 6-cell battery.
You're getting 7 hours?
Just about. Between 6 and 7.
Wow. I have to trade in because I have an MSI Wind and I'm not getting that.
I've had it on for the entire time I've been here, and I still have an hour and a half left.
That's awesome.
Was, I was on the entire time.
Yeah, you were sitting out in the... Yeah, wow, that's impressive.
So much battery life.
And it was $400. It was $400, and the day I got
That's the new Asus EPC. What's the model number?
1000 HE.
Oh, the HE. Okay.
Amazon is where I bought. I bought 5 of them.
Not for yourself, for your employees.
Yeah, and I dropped it the first day on concrete, literally, and it chipped off a piece, but it didn't crash XP.
Lean in.
It still works.
Use that mic.
I'm still using it.
That's your mic.
And I love it.
Element J, you had a question?
No, I was just wondering, Brian, what kind of battery life he gets on the G1.
Oh, yeah, Brian and I both use the G1.
So
sucks.
iPhone G1
suck.
I charge them up in the morning, and they don't last me to the evening.
Even the iPhone, you're not. I'm getting better battery life on my iPhone.
I think I get better battery life on the G1.
Really?
Personally, I don't know if my iPhone just sucks or what, but I can't get through a day with either of them, and I'm using both of them for similar things. I'm posting pictures to the internet. I'm browsing friend feed. I'm doing tweets, whatever.
I love the software. I love Android. I really think that this is just bad hardware. Now, we're going to see this week, in fact, T-Mobile says, version 1.5, Cupcake, codename Cupcake of the Android operating system will be out.
I don't know if I'd really name my version.
I don't know. Is that the official name, Cupcake? I don't know. That's what they're calling it. That could make a big difference in a lot of things, including, as we've seen with the iPhone, it could be battery life.
Well, and 3.0 iPhone, apparently that's the big...
Well, I was impressed with 2.2. 2.2 got much better battery life for me.
Yeah.
I think you're getting unusually bad battery life.
I think I am.
Yeah. But not on the G1. That's just terrible. Do you have Element J? Are you thinking of buying an Android phone? Or?
No, I got one when they came out back in October.
I
sent mine back because of the battery life, and I stuck with my iPhone 3G. But I get some poor battery life also on my iPhone. I go the whole day and dies by 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm not using it. It's in my pocket all day.
All we ask, look, it's a smartphone. It's not going to be like your Motorola, rocker. Mm-hmm. You're gonna have to. But all we ask is we get through the day.
Yeah, it's an internet device.
Just let me get through the day.
Don't tell me to turn off features.
Yeah, without turning off Wi-Fi.
I find it with my second generation iPhone. If I charge it every night, and I don't charge it every night. Now, if I turn off Wi-Fi, I can go three days,
if
4
you turn
days.
off the wireless.
But with Wi-Fi on, typically I never have an issue where it runs out of battery inside of a 1 day period. Unless I'm playing Minesweepers too much.
Right.
Or
that with
Field
Wi-Fi
Runners.
and 3G off?
I don't...
No. I mean, with Wi-Fi and 3G on, unless I'm playing Field Runners too much on a bus or on a plane, I will not run out.
That's interesting. It sounds like there's some real variation.
Yeah, well, I mean, because I don't play games. I use it as an internet. I browse the internet. I send SMS messages. I do GPS. I do maps. And that's about it.
Yeah.
And I can't get through a day.
Element J, I thank you for being on the show.
Thanks, Leo. Appreciate it.
Thank you for calling. I think we lost Lewis once more, and it doesn't seem to be getting back through. So, Lewis Gray, I thank you for being here at lewisgray.com. And next time, you just got to shout out. You just got to yell if you want to be on this show. Right, Carlos? You just yell. You just say, I got something to say.
Yes, of course, always.
Yeah, I mean, it's always been like, as it ever has been. It's a little harder when there are people in studio, as Brian and Alex and I are, if you're a person on Skype. And so I apologize for making
it's a different interaction.
Yeah, but I thank you for being here. I really appreciate it, Carlos.
Hey, thanks for having me.
It's great to talk to you.
I'll send you some cachaça, maybe.
I don't know if I want any cachaça. It sounds like it's going to burn a hole in my...
You need... correct me if I'm wrong, but what you need is the proper amount of sugar and limes.
Oh, all right.
And but then you get a fine drink.
You need the green limes, not the yellow ones.
Oh,
absolutely.
The little green limes. You take some sugar, you take some little green limes, you squeeze the limes, you mix in the sugar, you take the cachaça, you throw it out, and you drink the lime juice and sugar.
No. I'll make you some. I'll make you some.
We drink the whole thing.
It's so good.
It's one of the most popular drinks around, man.
When I was in Brazil, I have to admit, I think I was comfortably numb most of the time on caipirinhas.
Caipirinhas are a great drink, actually. I agree with you.
After the second caipirinha, it's all downhill.
Yeah. That's why you drink them on the beach.
How is it that your English is so good? Did you study English in school, or?
I lived in Oklahoma.
There you go.
With the rednecks.
That'll do it. Well, it's been great having you on the show. I really appreciate your being here.
Thanks
all
so
right.
much. Thanks all of you guys.
Our volunteer twit, Carlos Xavier. He's on Twitter, Carlos Gustavo, one word. Follow him.
Please. Twitter followers.
He needs Twitter followers.
Yes, trying to beat Ashton Kutcher.
That would be a great goal, is just to pick somebody out of the blue and say, let's beat Ashton Kutcher. Let's take Twitter back.
Release a press release. Leo Laporte.
You should do that.
Not me.
Or Carlos.
Not me. Carlos. Carlos.
Yes.
Just some random person.
Follow me.
Thank you, Carlos.
Okay, thank you so much.
Take care. We're going to hang up on Carlos. I have a few more people in our talk show, though. Let's go quickly to our next talk show caller, and that's Flargo. Hey, Flargo.
Hello, everyone.
It's good to have you. Where are you calling from today?
For a while. I'm up in Seattle. I'm a listener. I started following you about 5 months ago.
Well, thank you. We welcome you to the show.
So everyone else seems to be talking about Windows 7, and that's a big. I'm actually going to chime in on Duke Nukem. I've been following that game for over 10 years, and I never really hoped that it would come out, but it's kind of little tears for me. It's finally been canceled.
Yeah, I mean, that's a heartbreaker. Although it was the butt of many a joke. I mean, I think we all saw the writing on the wall here.
My jokes included.
Yeah, Duke Nukem Forever. That was the mistake. It was the name.
Did not finish.
Did not finish. Well, it's great to talk to you, Flargo. We appreciate your being here, and thanks for listening to the show.
I appreciate you being there.
All
nice
right.
to hear from you all.
Take care. Bye-bye, Flargo in Seattle. Now, Datalore. Hey, Datalore, where are you calling from?
Dublin in Ireland.
Oh, it's nice to talk to you. Thank you for calling. It's kind of late at night. We appreciate you staying up late.
Or early in the morning.
That's the case, maybe. I hope you don't have to work in the morning.
I actually do, believe it or not, but I'm working on a college project tonight, so you can feel sorry for me now.
That's great. Well, are there any stories on your mind that we missed, or anything you want to comment on what we've talked about so far?
Yeah, mostly. There was an article that I came across yesterday on CNET regarding the European Union wanting to make software makers liable for their code. And what you were talking about, like with the trouble with Vista and stuff like that, I know the BSA aren't really kind of going ahead with any plans. They're actually criticizing it. But I think, personally, I think software makers, software developers should be liable for their code.
Well, that's going to maybe you're right. I mean, maybe kind of morally and ethically they have some responsibility. But my goodness, if you're considering a software business and you know that you could be sued if your code doesn't live up to somebody's expectations, that's going to put a pretty big chill on the business. Look at Brian, you're a developer. What do you think of that idea that you should be liable? What if companies sued you?
Well, they wouldn't sue me. They would sue the company I work for.
Right.
Maybe in the open source community, people can be held liable if they contribute a piece of code that blows chunks or brings down a site. But
every time you open a piece of code, it says we're not liable. Don't however you use this.
Every time you install a piece of software, there's a checkbox, and you have to agree to the terms. And those terms typically spell out the service level agreements for that type of thing, and it's not any one single developer that's going to be held liable. I mean, if I check in a piece of code, it breaks Bank of America's financial transaction system, I'm not going to get sued. My company's going to get sued.
So here's the point: Commissioners Vivian Redding and Meglena Kuneva say that consumers have protection for physical product failings. If you buy a tire and the tire fails, you can sue the manufacturer. Why shouldn't software makers, be liable in the same way? But I have to ask you, Datalore, I mean, sometimes I feel like the EU commissioners are very anti-business. Is that something typically European, or, I mean, here in America, business rules, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I suppose it depends. Like, I work as an IT manager, so I've got things that I need to make sure that they're reliable, particularly like protection, security, and antivirus. And if those products don't live up to their expectations, my manager director would have a canary. He'll want to point the finger at somebody. And I think that's the problem, is that people who are responsible for this need to be able to point the finger at someone. And there has to be some sort of consumer protection involved, whether it be consumer or business protection. You know, I don't think it's easy just to kind of let this go, because you know, particularly with antivirus software, like where we protect it with free antivirus software, we all know that if we download AVG free, for example, stick it on our machines, it's not going to be as resilient as Norton or Mac.
Right.
You know.
BSA Director of Public Policy Francisco Mignorance said, unlike tangible goods, creators of digital content cannot predict with a high degree of certainty both the product's anticipated uses and its potential performance. He says, we shouldn't be held to the same standards as a toaster is. You know what you're going to do with a toaster. Well, software can be used in a variety of situations.
And you know what? When you build a car, you have you know, if you drive it off-road, you know, that's kind of, they're saying, well, that's not what it
now
was
you're off the
designed
hook.
for. You're off the hook. And in many ways, there's, on a PC, there might be 20 or 30 different variations of what that software has to run against.
I tell you, I don't think this maybe would hurt commercial software. You know, Microsoft just, you know, this is their business, but it's going to kill open source software. If you're, and by the way, they want it to extend to open source software as well. If you're an open source developer and you know you could be sued if somebody uses your code and has a problem, you're not going to make your code available. So I think the unintended consequence of this is, I mean, I agree, consumers should be protected. But the unintended consequence of this is to kill open source software. And I don't think the EU commissioners are aware of that at all. Do you agree, Datalore?
Yes, I would have to agree with that. But at the end of the day, like it's really what you pay for. If you get something free, you're not going to expect it to be to be that resilient. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's more about the paid for software, the software you depend on. Let's say if you go open office, install your machine, and it dies, fair enough. You know, you can download this one. You're able to take control of it with open source software.
I guess a court would recognize that too, right? Would say, well, look, you didn't pay for it. What do you expect? You can't sue the developer here. Yeah. Although they explicitly say this, we want this to cover open source software. Hey, great subject. I'm glad you brought that up, Datalore. That's a very interesting point. I think, unfortunately, we miss a lot of stories out of Europe. We tend to be a little bit U.S.-centric because it was originally a U.S.-only podcast. But I'm glad that we have listeners in Dublin, and really appreciate your being here.
I'll do my best for you, Leo. No worries.
Thank you, Datalore. Take care. I think we're going to have to... All right, take care. We're going to have to wrap this up. We have many more callers, but we really have made this the longest twit in history. So, but it's a volunteer twit. It should be longer.
Exactly.
Alex Lindsay is at the Pixel Core. PixelCore.tv is where the podcasts live, soon to be a Squarespace site. PixelCore.com is the place to find out about his guild of multimedia artists, the kind of people who make Star Trek possible. Exactly. Alex, always great to have you. We'll see you on Mac Break Weekly on Tuesday.
2 days.
In just a couple of days. And I really want to thank you for coming up and leaping into the breach, Brian Daniel Eisenberg. You didn't know that you were going to be on the show, but we appreciate your being here. InfinitelyMeta.com is your company, and also your Twitter handle.
Great. Well, thank you very much for having me.
Thanks for being here. Thank everybody who watched the show, who participated in the chat rooms, who participated in Friend Feed. We had 739 comments, and especially for the guinea pigs who tried out the show on TalkShoe. We're going to do this more. I think that really worked very, very well. Yeah. And a tip of the hat to everybody who was on the show in TalkShoe, in the chat room on TalkShoe, and we'll keep using TalkShoe for future shows because I think that's a great way to do it. Twit, the volunteer edition, is in the can. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
How many people were on the TalkShoe?
I don't know.
More
it
than
doesn't
10.
seem to have a number. It's it's not as big as our regular chat room. Our regular chat room is probably 700 or 800.
But they handle it because I remember we were really
628. But yeah, no, TalkShoe is